Good morning, children. Let us continue with the class. In the previous class, you have learnt about how the soil is formed. Soil is formed with the help of weathering of rocks. A process called weathering of rocks, wherein the rocks break down into smaller particles. It is because of the heat of the sun, heat and light of the sun, and cooling, as well as due to the heavy wind, strong wind, as also because of running water through rainwater, isn't it? So what happens? The big rocks will be broken down into smaller pieces, and this, because of the action of this wind, water, everything, every time, what happens? They become into smaller and smaller and smaller particles, and they form the soil. And where is the soil present? Soil is present on the surface of the earth's crust. Understood? So in that we have learnt about three different types of soil. One is the topsoil, next is subsoil, next let us see, we'll continue with that. So the third layer of the soil. The third layer of the soil is called as bedrock. It is called as bedrock. The lowermost non-porous layer of the soil is called the bedrock. So you can see here, this is topsoil, this is subsoil, and this is bedrock. Non-porous means it does not have holes at all in it. So when there is no presence of holes, what will happen? Air cannot pass through this. So it is big stones only. Okay, so we will see here now. So bedrock, the lowermost non-porous layer of the soil is called the bedrock. It has stones and rocks. What does it consist of? It is consisted of stones and rocks. Bandekallu and Chikkukallu. Okay, so stones and rocks. It is more sandy, and it consists of more sandy, means what? Rough particles, crystal-like particles. Rainwater percolates underground and collects in this layer. It is orange or yellow in color. So when the rain pours, when the rain falls, what happens? The water will start seeping through this layer. It comes down through the layer. In the topmost, it can easily seep. Why? Because it is loosely packed. The topsoil is loosely packed, so it can easily go down. And then it reaches the subsoil. After subsoil, it will come and reach to the bedrock. Further, it cannot go down. Why? Because here it is already into hard rock, big stones. So through that, water cannot go down. Understood? So here water is going to settle there on the bedrock. See, rainwater percolates underground and collects in this layer. So where does it collect? It collects here at bedrock. It is orange or yellow in color. This part is orange or yellow in color. Now coming to the next one, that is living organisms in soil. So many small and big animals live in the soil. You see, soil means all the living organisms are present. So many small and big animals live in the soil. Fungi and bacteria. Fungi and bacteria are also found in soil. So what are these fungi and bacteria? They are microscopic organisms. Microorganisms. Very small organisms which you are not able to see with your naked eyes. So if you have to see them, what you require? You require the microscope. With the help of microscope, you are able to see them clearly. Understood? So this fungi and bacteria are also found in soil. Centipedes, jari, what you call no? Centipedes, ants, millipedes, savirakalu you say. Then ants, you know, irve. So centipedes, ants, millipedes, etc. feed on organic matter. So what do these organisms do? They are all depending on what? The organic matter. Organic matter from where you got? The plant and animal products which is found in the soil. They are going to form the organic matter. And what about these organisms, the centipedes and earthworms and all? They are depending on this organic matter got from plant and animal products. They make the soil loose and allow the movement of air. So what happens? They are making the soil very loose. So once it is loose, what happens? The air will pass through this soil. Understood? So they make the soil loose and allow the movement of air. This helps in the growth of the plants. That is why normally earthworm is called as the friend of the farmer. Why? Because it helps in increasing the fertility of the soil, making it loose. So minerals also will be there. Plus we can see that air also passes through that, which are required for the growth of plants. So it will make the soil fertile. These animals, okay, organisms which are present in the soil. We call them as soil organisms. Now, even animals like rats, rabbits, earthworms, etc. make burrows and holes in the soil. Can you see that? A burrow means in the soil itself they make the houses, their own house. That is means they make holes. So in that holes they stay. That is why they call it as burrows. And this is especially rabbits, then this earthworm, rats, all these things are making burrows in the soil and they live in the soil. So rabbit, many animals live in the soil. Okay, now let us go for soil erosion. The washing or blowing away of the top fertile layer of soil by wind or water is called soil erosion. So you have learned about weathering of rocks, wherein the rocks break into cracks. It first may it will form cracks, afterwards it will break, isn't it? So then that is by weathering of rocks, what is formed? Soil is formed. Okay, and already you learned about the layers of soil. Now let us say about soil erosion. So whatever the soil was formed, now it is getting washed away from the earth. So this is called soil erosion. Now let us see here. The washing or blowing away of the top fertile layer of soil by wind or water is called soil erosion. The top soil is very much required for the growth of plants because it can hold water, minerals and everything, isn't it? Now what has happened? Organic matter, everything is present. So what happens due to wind, heavy wind or flowing water, what happens? This topsoil will be carried. Along with that it will be carried and it will be dumped somewhere. So what is this washing away of this soil, the topsoil? It's called soil erosion. So you must have seen during dust storms or when water runs with a high speed, it can remove the fertile topsoil. Dust storm, Suntukali, So what happens? You would have seen that how the dust will arise. The mud particles will be arising. It will be whirling and arising, isn't it? So during that dust storm and when there is heavy wind what happens? The topsoil which is loose, it will be carried away. And even when the rainwater flows. Nowadays you have seen, you are aware of floods and all those things. So many places there was heavy rain, what happens? So many properties, so many vehicles and animals, everything, even human beings were carried away. They were washed away. So when they are only washed away, what about the topsoil? So topsoil also will be carried away, isn't it? So that is called as soil erosion. Now you must have seen during dust storms or when water runs with a high speed, it can remove the fertile topsoil. So the topsoil will be washed away. The removal of the fertile topsoil makes the land barren and unfit for crop production. So topsoil is a must for the growth of plants. Now the topsoil itself is washed away. It is removed with the help of wind and water. How does it get fertility? The soil will not be fertile. Why? Topsoil has gone, next will be subsoil. Subsoil is not that good for the growth of plants. So what happens? The removal of the fertile topsoil makes the land barren. Barren means what? It's not fertile, so you cannot grow any crops there. So those type of land is called as barren land, wherein you don't find any vegetation, means no growth of plants. So that land is called as barren land. Why? There is no topsoil, no fertility, no minerals, no air, water, everything. So everything is gone. Understood? So that is, they don't permit the plants to grow. So you call that land as barren land. Though there is no fertility, so that is called as barren land, which will not allow any vegetation there, which will not allow any plants to grow. And unfit for crop production, so you cannot grow crops there. You cannot have any agricultural land there. Understood? Now wind, water and human activities are the factors that lead to soil erosion. So how is this soil getting eroded? How is it getting washed away? Main is because of wind. Heavy wind, it will wash. Water also is going to wash the. So wind, water and human activities. What are human activities? For his own construction of his own houses, buildings or factories, industries, what is he doing? He is disturbing the soil, isn't it? So wind, water and human activities are the factors that lead to soil erosion. So washing away of soil, topsoil, wherein you cannot grow plants. So let us study these factors. What are the factors? Erosion by wind. First let us see about erosion by wind. Strong winds carry away the topsoil. Strong winds, heavy wind. What happens? It will carry away the topsoil, mainly from those areas where there is less vegetation or where the land is not covered with plants, and hence the soil is left loose. Especially in which areas you find more erosion of wind? Erosion of soil? By wind. How? Especially where you don't find more vegetation, means more plants are not growing. What happens when more plants are not growing? The roots of the plants are going to hold the soil tightly, isn't it? Now there is no growth of plants at all there. What will happen? The soil is left loose. There is nothing to hold it. So what will happen that time? That time if wind blows or water flows on the place, this will be carried on. That is why strong winds carried away the topsoil, mainly from those areas where there is less vegetation, no plants growth, or where the land is not covered with plants, and hence the soil is left loose. Soil erosion is the highest in dry areas, especially in the desert areas, dry areas, wherein there is no vegetation. There the erosion will be too much by wind. So let us see the images, children. So you can see a soil layers on earth. Already you have learnt about 3 layers, isn't it? One is topsoil, next middle one is subsoil, and the last one is the bedrock, isn't it? So now let us see here, organic layer. So organic layer means the maximum on the surface, exactly on the surface what happens, you can see the plant and animal products falling. So then that is called as the organic layer, which is rich with minerals. Okay. And then comes the topsoil. So this is organic layer. Then from this part you can see here, this part. This is the topsoil, which is also loosely packed and very good for the growth of plants because it is porous, which allows water and the air to pass through. Next is the subsoil. So this part, the middle part is called as the subsoil, which is not very, it doesn't have more organic matter and it is also non-porous, but this is porous. Means holes are there, here it is non-porous. But coming to the last one, that is parent material, we call it as the gravel, stones, pebbles and all this, you can see. But when you come to bedrock, they are big ones. Can you see here? These are smaller ones, here you can see. So totally all this you can take it as bedrock. So topsoil, subsoil and bedrock. Already I told you about centipede, how it loosens the soil, makes the soil fertile. So centipede, millipede, then earthworm, all these are very good organisms which are going to increase the fertility of the soil. So earthworm, that was centipede, you have seen this earthworm, they make burrows, isn't it? And they live there and they loosen the soil. Did you understand? So let me stop it here, children. We will continue in the next class. Thank you.